morning, students. Today we discuss about 11th commerce subject, new chapter, discharge and breach of a contract. So discharge of contract means it implies termination of the contractual relationship between the parties. That is, the contract will come to an end. A contract is discharged if it ceases to operate and when the rights and obligations created by it come to an end. Sometimes other rights and obligations may arise as a result of discharge of the contract. Mode of discharge of contract. Discharge by performance. Performance implies carrying out the obligation of the contract. So the contract will be carried by the parties. It is called as performance. So performance must be completed according to the real intention of the agreement. So performance must be done according to the time and manner prescribed. There are two types of a performance of contract, that is actual performance and attempted performance. Then mode of discharge of contract, second point is by agreement on consent. Agreement between the parties comes to an end by mutually agreeing for it. Any contract is created by an agreement, hence in the same way it can be discharged by an agreement. So whenever a contract is created by the two parties, there must be an agreement. Likewise, when the agreement will be discharged, when the contract will be discharged, again the agreement will be made by the two parties mutually. The consent may be of following types, that is mutual consent. One is express, the next one is implied. Express consent may be given at the time of formation of the contract or subsequent to its formation. But in the case of implied contract, the contract are also discharged by implied consent. Different mode of discharge by implied consent are as, that is novation, alteration, recession, remission, accord and satisfaction, waiver and merger. So by these ways we can make the contract with implied consent in order to breach the contract. By impossibility of performance. A contract may be discharged if its performance becomes impossible. So if the performance is impossible way, then the contract will be discharged. The rule of impossibility of performance is based on the following. The law does not recognize what is impossible, and what is impossible does not create an obligation. So according to section 56 of the Act, all acts to do impossible acts are void. There are two types of impossibility. Number one is impossibility existing at the time of agreement, impossibility arising subsequently to the formation of the contract. So on the other hand, impossibility of performance existing at the time of a performance of a contract may be either known to the parties or not known to the parties. Likewise, impossibility arising subsequent to the formation of a contract by some event beyond the control of the parties or by some act either of the promisor or of the promisee. By way of lapse of time, the contract will be discharged. According to the Limitation Act 1963, a contract must be performed within a specified period. If it is not performed within the specified period of time, and against which if no action is taken by the promisee in the court of law within specified time, then the promisee is deprived of his remedy at law. So in such case the contract will be discharged. By the operation of law. A contract can be discharged by the operation of law by way of death, that is, if the contract depends on the personal skill or ability, then such contract may be discharged on the death of the promisor. Sometimes merger. So merger will take place when an inferior right accruing to the same party either under the same or another contract. And by way of insolvency. An insolvent is discharged from all liabilities incurred prior to his adjudication. Unauthorized alteration of the terms of a contract. If one party makes any material alteration in the contract without the consent of the other party, then the other party can avoid the contract. Rights and liabilities vesting in the same person. So here, the right and liability become vested in the same person, the other parties are discharged. Remedies for breach of contract. That is, there are various types of remedies for the injured parties listed as follows. Rescission of contract, claim for specific performance, claim for injunction, claim for quantum merit, and claim for damages. Rescission of contract. In case of breach of contract by one party, then the other party may rescind the contract, and thereby the party is absolved from his all obligations under the contract. Claim for specific performance. In some specific cases, if the damage are not the adequate remedy, then the court can direct the party in breach for the specific performance of the contract. In such a case, the promise is carried out as per terms and conditions. Generally, in the following cases, the court grants specific performance. Then the act agreed to be done is such that compensation in money for its non-performance is not sufficient. So when it is probable that the compensation in money cannot be received for the non-performance of the act agreed to be done, then there is no standard for ascertaining the actual damage caused by the non-performance of the act. On the other hand, the court does not grant specific performance in the following cases, that is, damages are an adequate remedy, the contract is not a certain one, the contract is inequitable to either party, and the contract is of irrevocable nature, the contract is made by the trustee in breach of trust, and the contract of personal nature, the contract made by a company ultra vires of the memorandum of association, the court cannot supervise its carrying out. From these following situations, the claim will be lodged for specific performance by way of a court. Claim for injunction. Injunction is an order passed by a competent court restraining a person from doing some act. That is, the party should not do any activities beyond the limit given by the court. So injunction can be defined as mode of securing the specific performance of the negative terms of a contract. So the negative terms of contract imply doing something which a party has promised not to do. So injunction is an order which is granted by the court restraining the person to do what he had promised not to do. So the court may order injunction in the following cases. If the contract is voidable, if the contract becomes void, or on discovering the contract as void. So these in situations the court will give injunction order. Claim for quantum merit. The claim for quantum merit may arise if a contract performed by one party has become discharged by breach of the other party. So the meaning of the phrase quantum merit is as much as earned. So the claim is not for the original contract that has been discharged by or void, but on an implied promise by the other party to pay for what he has done. So claim will be given for a quantum merit. So these are the following circumstances which gives the quantum merits. If a contract is found to be void, if something is done without any intention to do so gratuitously, if one party abandons or refuses to perform the contract, if a contract is divisible, and if a contract is performed badly, and a claim for damages. So these are the following circumstances in which quantum merit can be arise. So damages are a monetary compensation awarded by the court to be injured party for the loss or injury suffered by him. So as per the contract, one party can claim damage if other party breached the contract. The main purpose of awarding the damage is to make good the loss suffered by him. So it is known as doctrine of restitutions. So the section 73 of the Indian Contract Act is 1872 to deal with the compensation for loss or damages caused by the party for breach of contract. So these are mainly 4 types of damages: ordinary damage, special damage, and then vindictive or exemplary damages, and nominal damages. So through this way, the court will order the quantum merit of a claims. So with that, we conclude this video session. Students, go through all the points which are taught in this video. Write all the topics with answers in your class or notebook, and send task complete message in the group between 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. today itself. Thank you.